สวัสดีครับเพื่อนๆสมาชิกชาวกีตาร์ไทยวันนี้ผมอยู่ที่ Music Concept นะครับเพื่อนๆเล่นกีตาร์กันเนี่ยก็คงเคยมีปัญหากีตาร์งอแงกีตาร์ไม่สบายกันนะครับวันนี้ผมพาเพื่อนๆมาพบกับคุณหมอกีตาร์นะครับเขาเป็นด็อกเตอร์จากอเมริกาครับดร. Epiphone นะครับ Hey Will.
Hey there.
Yeah. How you
Good
doing?
to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Good to see you there.
โอเคแล้ววันนี้นะครับเขาเป็นดร. Epiphone เพราะฉะนั้นเรามาให้เขาเล่าเรื่องกีตาร์ Epiphone ให้เราฟังกันดีกว่า So tell us about Epiphone.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Well, first I want to say hi to everybody out there, all the members at GuitarTie.com. Dr. Epiphone here at your service. Well, Epiphone, of course, is one of the most famous guitar brands in the world. We're part of the Gibson family of brands. And Epiphone has a long and rich history, which I'll tell you just a little bit about. But you know, Epiphone is really most famous as the best value, most for your money guitar brand or fretted instrument brand, musical instrument brand in the world. Nobody gives you more for your money than Epiphone. And here in just the next couple of minutes, we'll try to tell you a little bit why. You know, Epiphone started way back in 1873 in Sparta, Greece. And our name, in fact, is a combination of the owner's son, Epaminondas Stathopoulos, and the Greek word for sound, which was sort of a new name, Epiphone, they made up in the early 20s. We used to be fierce rivals with Gibson, and before we merged with them, we made friends with a young Les Paul. In fact, he invented the solid body electric guitar at our factory in 1941 out of a piece of pine wood, an Epiphone neck, Epiphone body parts. And of course, that was the world's first solid body electric guitar known as the Log. Les Paul gets pretty famous, and after the Stathopoulos are kind of out of it, by his suggestion, Gibson purchases Epiphone. We become one big company. And in the 60s, Epiphone gets even bigger. Famous people like Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, all get an Epiphone Casino. They're playing our instruments. Keith with the Rolling Stones is playing a Casino. Many other famous people, John Lee Hooker in blues, people country and western, jazz, folks like Joe Pass, all playing our instruments. And of course today, the legend continues with shredders like Zakk Wylde playing our stuff. We've got new artist models like Rod Flynn and Dave Navarro and a lot of really cool stuff. People you know, big names right now on the video and the radio, playing Epiphone guitars and other fretted instruments. Now, I want to go back real quick and tell you a little bit about Les Paul's original science. It's important to know. You know, before Les Paul invented the solid body electric guitar back in 1941 out of Epiphone parts of the Epiphone factory, we've been making music the same way we've done for hundreds and thousands of years with acoustic instruments. Now, acoustic guitars, in fact, the violins, pianos, horns, they all work like drums. They're all acoustic instruments, vibrations transferring to an acoustic column which bounces around as an acoustic wave inside an echo chamber, and it comes out the sound hole in some form or fashion. They all work the same way, acoustic wave energy. Now, before Les Paul came up with his idea, that's how we made music. But Les's idea was revolutionary because the solid body electric has no resonance chamber. There's no box, there's no echo chamber. In fact, the vibrations are captured inside the instrument. In fact, Les Paul's idea was to, instead of send the vibrations into the open air, it's to keep them inside the instrument. It's a very, very unique idea. Now, people had been putting, back in the 1930s, pickups in acoustic instruments, jazz boxes, to make them louder and be heard over the horns and the rest of the band. But we still didn't have the solid body electric sound that we think of when we think of electric guitar. Now, these pickups handle the job of the box, the echo chamber. But what gives the electric guitar its tone, Les Paul's science, of course, are some of the design elements that make the Les Paul guitar itself famous for having the most tone and sustain of any musical instrument. Now, there's In fact, I'm going to tell you the secrets of a Les Paul. It's kind of like a magic act, but I'm going to tell you the secrets of how we do it. First of all, you've got the angled headstock, which is very important. Flat headstocks are cheaper and quicker to make, but they don't give you the same amount of downward pressure here at this contact point for the strings. And why is this important? Well, Les Paul says you got to get all the vibrations you can into the body of the guitar. That's where you get the tone and sustain from. And the angled headstock gives you better downward pressure, better contact for sending those vibrations back into the body from the string. I can measure it with a fish scale. Very technical, very... don't try this at home. It's very dangerous. Actually, you can try this. I'm going to pull on the G string here and see how much tension is going on here. Oh, wow. About 3.5 kilograms of pull required to take the string off the nut of the guitar. Now, if I were to do that on a flat headstock guitar, it would be about half a kilo, not under a kilo. It wouldn't be as much. In fact, even with the string trees that they put on there to create artificial downward pressure on some guitars, it still would be about a kilo to a kilo and a half. Still less than half of the pull, the downward pressure that you get from the angled headstock. Of course, you find that on every Epiphone design. Now, also integral to tone and sustain and getting those vibrations into the body. And you get that really good here because the Epiphone Les Paul here has a long neck tenon. What that is, that's the part that goes into the body that's glued in, where it becomes like a puzzle piece glued together and essentially becomes, again, one piece of wood that sends all of the vibrations, 100% of them, back into the body of the guitar with a long neck tenon. It goes all the way to this pickup cavity. So the vibrations are back in the body. Now down here, we have the stop bar tailpiece and two pneumatic bridge. The stop bar tailpiece, again, creates downward pressure on the contact points in the saddles on the two pneumatic, shoving the vibrations through these big bolts into the body of the guitar. There's no vibration loss. And what's that mean? It means all the vibrations are in the body. What happens? You play a note on a Les Paul and the sound waves actually recycle. The vibrations run laps and bounce back and forth and continue on resonating. That's your sustain, how long the note lasts. And no other guitar gives you more sustain than the Les Paul, because we've got all these design elements all working together with this big chunk of mahogany to give you amazing tone and sustain. Now, breaking it, oh, by the way, don't forget, this is Les Paul's signature. The guy who invented the solid body electric guitar at the Epiphone factory, of course, out of Epiphone parts in 1941. And his signature carries the authority of the guy who invented this contraption. That's right, the electric guitar that you know and love. And his name says those design elements and the quality and value that he always raved about is here in this guitar. And only Epiphone and Gibson can give you a real Les Paul. Some other guitars look like it. Sometimes they even copy the fancy writing down here. But this is a real Les Paul, and that's what you want. Now, let's talk about some of the other things that make our Epiphones sound so great. So we've got some great design elements going on there, thanks to Mr. Les Paul back in the day. Also, a lot of people don't know that Epiphone makes its own pickups. This is an Epiphone Alnico Classic humbucker pickup. It's very, very close to the original PAF humbucker, 1957. We did it that way on purpose. It says Epiphone on the back of the pickup. We make our own pickups. Other companies, I don't know where they come from, but we know where ours come from because it's that important. This is the voice of your electric guitar, remember, because it doesn't have the echo chamber. You've got to have great pickups, and this is the voice of the guitar. Inside the pickup, you've got two electromagnetic coils. The base plate magnet is a real Alnico magnet, Alnico 5 alloy. The coils have enamel-coated wires, not poly, but enamel-coated wires like the original humbuckers, and they're double vacuum wax dipped. They get two vacuum wax baths to completely seal the pickup against microphonic hum, squeal, noises, and stuff that you don't want. Instead, you get great humbucker sound that you do want, because this is the pickup. This is the sound of the guitar, and it's got to be right. Now, don't forget, the humbucker is two electromagnetic coils wound in opposite directions or opposite polarities, which cancel out the mains hum you get when you plug in. They're hum noise free. That's why it's called humbucker. It bucks the hum. Plus, with the two coils, you have a fatter, louder magnetic field for the strings to vibrate and disturb, so therefore it has more signals, a fatter sound. And these little screws are adjustable pole pieces that bring that magnetic field up closer to the string if it needs to be louder. So they're adjustable too. Now, great pickups are important, but other things are important as well. And what good are great pickups if the rest of the parts of the guitar aren't great? Here we have a toggle switch that you find in a lot of guitars out there. It's not so great. It looks metal, but believe me, most of the innards, all the insides, plastic. Not good. This is Epiphone's toggle switch. It's heavy duty. It lasts longer, makes better contact, and even says Epiphone on the part. This guy right here, clickety click. If you hear that sound, you don't want it. But this better toggle switch, just like our better pickups, come in every Epiphone electric guitar that we make. Also important are the potentiometers. On the outside of the guitar, the knobs look the same. Here's looking at you. On the inside, size does matter. Now, here's the little 250 k ohms potentiometer that some companies use. And so who? But that's not so good. It's not, of course, 250 k ohms. That's not as much as 500 k ohms, which you get a bigger frequency response. And because it's a bigger part, it's beefier, lasts longer, better contact. All of your tone goes through these electronic parts. So you want the biggest, beefiest parts you can get. And Epiphone gives you the 500 k ohms potentiometer, the big pots in every guitar that we make. Also, you got to get the sound out of the guitar. If you can't, what good is it? Here's an output jack that some folks use. That's not so good. It gets looser the more you use it. But here is Epiphone's heavy-duty output jack. It's a better design, makes contact with the end of the lead in two spots, actually says Epiphone right there on the part. It's just a better design. And look at this. Even with the nut loosened on the outside of the guitar, it does not spin inside the guitar, twist the wires, and break the connection. Only Epiphone has the non-rotating heavy-duty output jack. By the way, it comes in everything that we make. Now, let's talk about something else fun. Oh, before I forget, I always like to talk about our machine heads. Now, this is a covered tuner. It's okay. Here's a die-cast. It's much better. But here's a Grover. It feels really nice. And you'll find more Grover machine heads on more Epiphones. Now, let's see what we have here. You know, I was talking about the stop bar and tune-o-matic earlier, and it's a great way to transfer the vibrations to the body of the guitar, of course. Now, some other guitar designs use, well, other tail pieces with like the little loose individual saddles and spring fulcrum tremolos and stuff like that. But the stop bar and tune-o-matic is superior for sustain and tone, shoving the vibrations in the body where they are supposed to be, where Les Paul says they're supposed to go. There's always been one little problem with the stop bar and tune-o-matic, and that is when you cut the strings off, what happens? Oh, that's not good. Not anymore. Is it magic? No. Magnets? No. Is it Tone Pro? No. It's Epiphone's new lock tone locking stop bar tailpiece and tune-o-matic bridge. It snaps into place with little stringy clicky things and gives you 20% more sustain because it seals that last little vibration gap there, sending 100% of the vibrations back into the body of the guitar. And we've proven it scientifically, 20% more sustain. And this fancy hardware comes in every Epiphone electric guitar that we make. Free. That is value, I think. What do you think? I think so too. Now, speaking of value, I got this guitar for half price. And yes, I have the other half at home that I use to play power chords. But hey, enough about those issues. This is half of a Les Paul Standard Plus. In fact, this is our, this is one of our 1960 reissues. You can see here it's got a real flame maple cap, solid maple. Look at this. Look at this big chunk of mahogany. Big old mahogany piece. Oh my gosh, yum, yum, yum. Just think of the tone and sustain in this piece of lumber right here. Oh, that's nice stuff. Look, no weight relieving, no funny business. Real mahogany. That's the stuff you want. You've got a long neck tenon, goes all the way, just like I told you, into the middle of this pickup cavity. That is a long neck tenon. And what's that do? It gives you great tone and sustain. No funny splice up in here. This is some serious tone. A tone machine. It will rip your face off. This is how Les Paul says Les Paul should be done. So, isn't that gorgeous? It's so gorgeous. Yum, yum, yum. Look at all that mahogany. Mm-hmm. It smells good. Sorry. Anyway, so this is a Les Paul. This is how you want it. And remember, you can only get a real Les Paul from Epiphone and Gibson. And well, this is looking inside the Epiphone Les Paul, and this is what you want. All those other goodies I told you about, plus this, plus the science, and the history and heritage of Epiphone, we've got a lot to offer. In fact, little bonus for you. Speaking of wood, solid wood, and yumminess, coming soon to Thailand. Ta-da! It's like my old cell phone. Hello, hello. Hi there. Actually, I think it sounds better. Hello. This is half of an Epiphone Masterbuilt acoustic. We've got this thing in half to show you the insides of this. Now, the Masterbuilt series is new and special from Epiphone because it is all solid wood. Now, solid wood acoustics, well, you see a lot of times solid top, and we feature a lot of solid top acoustics. And the reason why you like solid wood is because the older it gets, the more you play it, the more it breaks in, and the better it sounds. And solid top acoustics are fairly popular because, well, the top is where about 80% of the tone is on an acoustic. It's kind of like the drum head. Remember what we were talking about earlier? This is opposite of the Les Paul and the solid bodies and stuff because you want this to vibrate as much as possible. You know, I left out something a while ago. You know, the Les Paul has many sisters, by the way. Hang on just a second. I'll come back to you in a second. This is a Les Paul. What? Yes. In fact, it says Les Paul Custom. What? Really? Yes. This is an Epiphone G400 Custom. This is our version of a 1961 Les Paul Custom. From 1961 to 1967, the SG was the Les Paul. It's a lot to go into now, but trust me, you can look it up later if you want to. Also, stuff like the Wilshire, Explorer, Flying V, Firebird. They're all sisters of the Les Paul. It's the same design, tonally, just a different shape piece of wood for the body. But think about that. You still get the great tone and sustain that will blow your mind from that scientific possibility. Plus, like a Dot or 335 or like an Epiphone Riviera, stuff like that, Sheridan, have the solid block of wood and the hollow sides, like this guy right here. And that's kind of like the original log, the original first prototype solid body electric guitar that Les Paul made at the Epiphone factory from parts of a piece of pine wood. Remember? That's right. So Les Paul has many sisters. So all that great tone and sustain, all that solid wood and stuff. Okay, now we're back to this. So this is opposite of all that. You want this to vibrate and move as much air as possible because there is no, well, this does have pickups, but this is a different type of instrument. It's an acoustic. Okay. So, solid top, which sounds better with age, and the Masterbuilts have a solid Sitka spruce top with a super thin finish that lets that wood move and vibrate as much as possible. Now, what's also cool about the Masterbuilts is they're all solid wood construction. This one has solid rosewood back and sides. Holy smokes, all solid wood construction. They also come in solid mahogany back and sides, and again with the spruce top. They come in different shapes, like the AJ slope shoulder, also the square shoulder dreadnought, and one like a double aught size, a little bit smaller body with a slightly wider nut width for fingerstyle playing. That's the EF models. So you've got different shapes and sizes. You've got acoustic, electric acoustic, and you got some that are cutaway electric. But what they all have in common, all solid wood construction, super thin finish, rosewood bridge, bone nut and saddle, rosewood bridge reinforcement plate inside, which is really nice. Inside you've got wide 1930s X style bracing that's scallops. It's super lightweight, strong, and loud. Inside over here you've got a one-piece primary mahogany neck. All the way through here is one piece of mahogany. No funny joints right here. This blue thing, of course, is the truss rod running through here. You know what a truss rod is. We'll get into that later. But the star of the show right here is the solid wood hand-cut, hand-fit dovetail neck joint, which is hand-cut, hand-fit, and glued on with organic glue. So later you can steam the neck off in 100 years if you need to reset it. They're coming soon to Tinyland, I think this October, in fact. So come on down and like here at Music Concept, and you can check one out for yourself. They sound amazing. It's a Masterbuilt acoustics from Epiphone. So that is a few of the things about that make Epiphone special and things that you kind of want to be looking for. We've got some newer products, some newer things, such as the Les Paul Traditional Pro, which feature our new Probucker pickups, which are absolutely the best sounding pickups in the world. They are amazing. And of course, with coil tapping, 4-element wire for switching between single coil and humbucker sound. We've got other cool new stuff coming from Epiphone this year. So come on down here to Music Concepts and check out all the information that you can get, all the members you can get accessing here on GuitarTie.com. Guess that's all my time for now. I'm Dr. Will Jones, Professor of Epiphone, Dr. Epiphone at your service. Thanks for watching.